here, unless you have a member who's still.
Who's the contract about?
Crystal Rail.
Please note that this meeting is being made available to the public through an audio recording which will be used to ensure an accurate record of proceedings produced in minutes. The meeting, all comments made in open session will be recorded. PAC TV is providing this service live on Comcast/Xfinity Government Access Channel 9. Those without cable, visit YouTube for live streaming. All right, and we are going to move forward with the continued hearing of case 3-25, Jason Cook, Somewhere Else Tavern. All right. You want to present?
Sure.
Just your name again, just for the record.
My name is Joe Danubio of Danubio Consulting LLC. I'm here on behalf of Somewhere Else Tavern, Inc. for an application for a temporary tent.
You had some discussions with the neighbor.
Yeah, so as a follow-up to the last hearing, there were some comments from residents regarding the volume of live entertainment in the tent. So, we listened to those comments and we came up with some ideas of how to manage the volume a little better. We provided a volume management plan that you have before you. We also met with a resident, or the applicant met with a resident, just to go over what we had proposed. And from my understanding, and Mr. Lee can comment later after this, it seemed like the meeting went well, and the accommodations that we were making seemed to be acceptable. Do you want me to highlight these revisions?
Excuse me, Joe, while you have that up there, why don't we show the board and Dave how we're going to change the positioning of the bar and the stage?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, so,
I'm going to zoom into the...
Mr. Cook, if you're going to speak, just give up the mic, please.
do I need to repeat?
They record for the TV, yeah, record for the.
All right, do I need to repeat that, Rick? Or?
Yeah, I would.
For the record here, folks, one of our amendments are going to be changing the positioning of the bar and the stage. What we're pretty much going to do is flip-flop that and put the stage up at the front where the bar is located now, and so the noise will be directed more towards the back of the property into the woods instead of where it was last year. It would have been more directed towards David Lee's house. So hopefully that will make a big difference, and the back of the building should absorb some of the sound. We have some soundproof blanketing that we're going to try. We tried that years ago. It seemed to work when we had a smaller problem with the neighbor, and that solved our problem for the time being. Other than that, David came over to Somewhere Else Tavern the other night. I feel as though we had a productive meeting and a friendly meeting. He and I discussed some things, and ended up chatting like two regular guys. So I'm hopeful that what we discussed and what we're presenting here tonight would allow us to move to the next step in getting a permit for this seasonal tent that we would like to do. It's very important to our financial state at Somewhere Else Tavern, and a lot of fun had by all. We haven't had any problems. It's a fun thing. It's 7 to 10 at night, and we're looking forward to a fun season. So hopefully all that will be taken into consideration.
Can I add just one more of the measures that we had outlined in the volume management plan? Yeah, go ahead. So I did research the town's bylaws for any decibel levels for noise. I didn't find anything, so what I did is I researched some other communities. The nearest community that was similar to Pembroke that had a level for decibels was Bridgewater. So we use what they had as a standard in their bylaws. And just to point out, only maybe, what are they, like 300 plus communities in Massachusetts, probably maybe 25 to 30 had actual metrics to measure that. So we propose that their metric that they use to be what we would use, and we're also proposing that at the beginning of each performance, we would monitor that, and we'd monitor it every half hour during the performance, just to make sure that we're within that decibel level and complying with it. We've also suggested as well that if Mr. Lee would like us to monitor it on his property, we would be absolutely willing to do that, but I think it's safe to say that if we're complying at the location of the Somewhere Else Tavern, 700 feet away, it's not gonna be as loud, so that was an additional measure that we're proposing.
And we do have a professional meter, decibel meter, that I have access to. A friend of mine is a retired supervisor from a big company in Boston. It's going to allow us to use this instrument and hopefully keeping a handle on the noise volume. I feel strong that we can really put a handle on this, and it's, you know, it's going to come to, hey, you guys turn the music down, please. It's a little too loud. So this should be hopefully easy, and see if we can be good neighbors and provide to everybody, so.
And I'd just like to make one more comment, just the location where we're relocating that stage, the projection of the volume, I'm gonna pull up this Google aerial image of the location of the tent in previous years. So basically the projection of that volume is gonna go, if you follow the arrow, back to the woods, so it's away from every commercial and residential property. So I think that's gonna help manage things as well.
Yeah, there was one letter of support here from 70 School Street, which is on the record. I'm not gonna read it, but when I did look at it, I assume the other members did too. Okay. All right, is anyone else here? Yeah, just name and address.
Yeah, David Lee, Lantern Ring. I was the person who mentioned at the last meeting about the concern about the noise. So as Mr. Cook said, I met with him last Wednesday night. He retracted his opinion of my music tastes initially, which was one of my main objectives for the evening. And Mr. Danubio has just forestalled one of my comments that about the diagram as submitted hadn't changed. So now that you've described how you're actually going to change it on the diagram, then that's fine. And yeah, I'm happy that from the discussions with Mr. Cook and from the documentation provided by Mr. Danubio that they're addressing my concerns, our concerns, and that going forward, hopefully, we'll have a more peaceful evenings on Fridays and Saturdays in our neighborhood. One thing that you mentioned, the supporting letter, and one I read through that, and one thing that gives me some hope and confidence is that I think given their location, they were, if you like, behind the speakers as they were last year, and they stated that they weren't experiencing any noise issues. So if we're going to be behind the speakers and behind the building going forward, then that should hopefully address the issue. But as Mr. Cook said, we now have a line of communication. I've got his business card, and if there's any issues, I can call him, and we can sort it out over the phone. So
Okay.
hopefully that will
Excellent.
sort everything out.
Great.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Did anyone else have any comment in the? Sure. Just say your name and address. So.
Hi, my name is Lily Cristello. I also live at 70 School Street. I've lived there now across from the tavern for about 12 years now, and I've been able to see firsthand the positive impact that Lori and Jason have brought to that area since their ownership takeover. And for as long as I've known them, they've always been people who take care of their community, whether it's catering a local event or hosting a fundraiser outside or inside for local high school sports teams, things like that. And living across the street, we can hear the music. Obviously, we're right there. But I can say when I'm in my house, I can never make out what the words are. I can hear some. And as a nurse, I work weekend shifts, and never once has the music deterred me from being able to fall asleep on a Friday or Saturday night to waking up early and going to work. And I can see the tavern from my bedroom window. And the last few years, having the tent has given the town a place to go for good food and listen to music outside without having to go all the way down to Plymouth in the summer to get an atmosphere like that. And I think just not allowing the chance for the tent to take place would just be unfair to the community, as the tent at Somewhere Else Tavern has become a place people look forward to gathering under the tent in the summer and just listening to some music. But yeah. And then there was another neighbor who just sent an email that wasn't able to make it, so I don't know if I'm able to read on behalf of them or if it would be like an account as well.
It was in favor?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, no, that's, if it's in favor, yeah, you could forward it along to,
Okay, yeah, they
Yeah.
did send it, they just weren't able to make
That's
it
fine.
tonight.
yeah. All right, thank you. Was there anyone else?
Hi, I'm Mari, and I also live at 70 School Street. I feel like we kind of have a resolution, but also just in for the music. I think it's completely fine. We live across the street. My husband's a trooper, and he works crazy hours, so he has a crazy sleep schedule. It never affects him. I'm also pregnant, and if I thought that that was going to wake the baby up at night, I'd be like, this is not going to work. So, but I have never had an issue, even like outside. I kind of enjoy sitting outside and hearing some music on Friday or Saturday, but I think we've all seems to be going well. So, but definitely in for the tent and the music, and I think, like I said, from my house directly across the street where I can see the tent, it's completely fine. So,
Oh, great, awesome, thank you.
yeah, of course.
Okay. Anyone else in the, no? Okay. Do you just want to address just the standard for the variance? There's just a standard under the bylaws for the variance.
Yeah, let me just pull
Yeah.
that right. I know last time you read it very well, so I said thought that was sufficient, but if we need to,
Yeah, if you just touch on the,
yeah, so back to the, I'm just gonna pull this over a little bit. Just a review here. So right in the center here, where this part of the plan is showing the offsets, front, rear, and side. The location of the tent is in compliance with the rear offset, this side offset, as well as the front offset. We are asking for a variance for this offset right here. The zoning bylaws require 20 feet. The tent will be located approximately 5 feet from the property line.
is that the property line that juts out and then back?
Yes.
Okay,
So a lot of it will actually be a lot closer, or it'll be a lot further on that side.
right,
But,
just,
but when you're showing an offset, you're required to show the minimum. So there is a point that there is a lot more buffer there for the vast majority of the tent. It's just the front corner, which is,
so it's just that small corner of the
Yeah.
front, otherwise,
otherwise it probably is pretty close to 20 feet.
right, I see, okay.
Um,
So it is a weird shape.
yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I mean, all the lots in that area around the lake, they're all just kind of
Yeah,
interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, it's a whole jumble of
Probably
different
nobody
types.
really knows where the property lines are either, but.
Right.
I will say the record plans for this, there are some monuments in the adjacent properties, so.
Okay.
They are pretty clearly defined. Across the street, it gets a little hairy.
Yeah.
So the section of the bylaw that we're requesting a variance for is section 4.3.D.1 for use and dimensional regulations for business district A, which refers to section 4.1 D.3 in residential district A.
Okay. Okay, so you'd be relying on that kind of odd shape and that, for that corner where you need that 5 feet, where you only have the 5 feet. Okay, right. And it's, I think with your parking, presumably it's really no other good place to put it.
Yeah, just the flow of traffic, I don't think you can move it anywhere closer to the center of the parking area. If you put it on the other side of the parking area, you'd still have, you'd be abutting the other property line,
Right.
and you still need a variance. And there are also some operational issues where, you know, if you moved it, you know, it's convenient for servers to come out the door and bring their food and what have you, so that's, there is an aspect of operations that makes that a more ideal location.
Okay.
And we can add to that too, Joe, the fire department, you know, requires that I put the Jersey barriers all the way around that tent, so if we moved it more into the parking lot, it's gonna move the barriers more into the center of the parking lot, and could cause a flow of traffic problem.
Okay.
It's really the only place we could put it, and we've never had any issues with it being there. Jim Shea's always been very workable with me from the fire department. We've added Jersey barriers, we have them almost within 3 feet all the way around the tent, even in the back where you can't even really, there's no way anybody could run into it, but Joe's got them marked out, those are all the Jersey barriers all the way around, so.
Right.
They actually come out probably at least, but they're 2 feet wide, so there's probably 4 feet from the edge of that tent, so it's, we really wouldn't wanna put it any more into the center of the parking lot itself, it would just, it wouldn't work.
Okay. And I assume really can't go back more towards the rear of the
Well, I
lot?
mean, then you'd get into the gravel, and I'd be afraid somebody might twist an ankle. We spent a lot of money paving that parking lot in hopes to keeping everything on the pavement for, you know, when it rains really hard, we've got the water flowing correctly. I've got a storage trailer back there where we keep extra furniture and equipment for the restaurant and whatnot, so we'd have to do some changing around, but it's, as Joe had mentioned, it makes it a little bit easier for our servers to come out of the building and get into the tent. Not to repeat myself, but it has worked smoothly, the flow of the working people and the traffic for the last 4 years. This will be our 5th year, so
Okay.
we'd like to continue with where it is. It seems to work nicely.
Okay. Chris, you have anything?
No, excuse me, no, I don't disagree, because I mean, if you pushed it farther down the back or up toward the top of the screen, you could get the parking lot kind of bottleneck, so you get into a safety issue where people coming and going, and then it's also a safety issue because the waitress has got to walk farther with food, beer, dishes, whatever. It is just an odd shape, the entire lot.
It is, yeah.
Okay. What was anything?
No, I mean, I've been here several times and sitting there picking up, it's the best you can do with that lot. You know, living over there, virtually every lot is, you know, 100 years old, and they're all like that.
Like a pie
It's the
shape
best
one.
you can do. You
Yeah,
know?
they're odd, yeah, there's a variety of odd shaped lots.
You know?
Okay, so it's Friday, Saturday, 7 to 10?
Correct.
Would be the, is that just, is that like when it's like operating, 7 to 10? Like when you
Well,
have,
people will get, you know, we open up probably at 5 o'clock. The staff will come in and start getting the tent ready. and,
Right.
You know, stocking beer and food and whatnot, and people show up early. If it's a beautiful night, they're gonna come in early and get their spots, so.
but the
yeah.
the music 7 to 10?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I think we could, and then you provided on the volume and management plan, those numbers 1, 2, and 3. On that submission, April 17, 2025, that page 2, okay. All right, is there anything else you guys want to add, or before we close? And
I think we're good unless you gentlemen have any other questions. I think we've covered our end,
yeah, I
best
mean,
of our knowledge, best of our,
what I'm thinking is, and the board's gonna, we'll discuss it, is conditioning it on the 3 sound conditions that you presented.
And I think that was our intent.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
yeah.
Obviously, the music would just be from 7 to 10. I'm not gonna get into the business, that's how the business operates, that's, but the music would be Friday, Saturday, 7 to 10. And then it would have to be, you gotta go in front of these boards anyway, but it would have to be subject to getting the outside entertainment license, I think, from the select board, and then
okay,
also, assume you have to go through planning board for, fire department might be involved, and so.
That's next Monday night,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it'll be, I'd say, I'm leaning towards allowing it just subject to those conditions.
Thank you.
That's my thought. We'll close, we'll have to deliberate, but, so I don't know if necessarily the variance, it would probably make sense to go through that process first. If this is how we vote, let those boards know we got the variance, subject to, obviously, your conditions and these approvals that we gotta get to.
course.
Because I don't see the point of the variance if you can't have the outside entertainment, if that's how it goes with the other boards. So, does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
I don't know if you want to address that before we close.
so
We don't wanna have operations without that outside entertainment. Just timing.
Probably not, no. Probably not.
Okay. So no more comments or questions on this? Okay. I'd just like to let you know what the conditions that I'm thinking of, in case you wanted to address them. Do you guys have any other conditions you might want to?
Besides sound, I mean,
I think that's fair.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
We're good, gentlemen?
I'll make them, yeah, real quick, Mr. Lee, sure.
Just before I leave, thanks for coming in for a special meeting tonight, gentlemen. I
No,
really
yeah, of
appreciate it.
course. No, we're happy to
Appreciate it.
help.
Very good. I appreciate your, trying to work with the positioning of the tent and everything. I just want to remind you that part of the noise mitigation policy that Joe submitted was kind of founded on the tent being up against the building and not down the end of the driveway, which would, parking lot, which would make it harder for them to
Yep.
apply that noise reduction policy.
Yeah, we're gonna go off of this plan. It's the plan you submitted, that's where the location is.
And if you want it to be put in the conditions that we revise, it's okay if I.
Yeah,
I
come on,
should
yep.
speak in the microphone anyway, but let me just piano over here. So you could put in the conditions that I would provide an updated plan that shows, the stage over here and the bar over there, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
I guess we didn't want to update it until we had the conversations.
yeah, so you're gonna
But I'd
have
be
to,
more than happy to resubmit it with a revision date with those changes.
Yeah,
That
I'd-
way you have it on record as that's what we're,
yeah, we'll go off, you did put it in the conditions that you're gonna relocate the stage, so you did, it's in writing here, but yeah, I would ask that you submit an updated plan.
yeah,
So we can just add that
yeah.
updated plan based on your condition 1 to relocate the stage and bar. Okay. All right, anything else? Okay, all right, make a motion to close and go into deliberation. All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I think where it's just you got an odd shaped lot, there's really no other place to put it. And it's really just that corner of that lot that comes into play on that tent, and I think due to the shape, it might be I don't know if you can really put it anywhere else. Financially or otherwise, I think it could be a hardship, so, I'd be in favor of allowing it subject to the 3 conditions that they provided on the volume management plan from April 17, 2025, along with an updated plan based on condition 1 to relocate the stage in the bar in such a way to redirect the volume towards the rear of the property. Also that it's subject to the planning board's approval for the site and the selectmen's approval for the, must be an amendment to the liquor license and for outdoor entertainment, right? Okay, so I'd make a motion to allow the application for, Somewhere Else Tavern, 65 School Street, for the requested variance, subject to the 3 conditions on page 2 of the volume management plan submitted by the applicant April 17, 2025. Also, based on the first condition on said plan, an updated plan be submitted showing the relocation of the stage and the bar, the stage being directed towards the rear of the property, so the music would play to the rear of the property. And also subject to town, the planning board's approval and the approval of the select board to amend the liquor license and allow the outdoor entertainment. Did that cover it?
That was it, yep.
So you got that? Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. And just, this note too, I think they do meet that standard for a variance, as presented by, their representative, so. Okay, we got a second, all those in favor? Aye. I guess, you're all set.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
All right, guys, good luck. Good luck.
Minutes too.
Yeah, we got, is it just the one page of minutes?
I think I might got one.
Do you have the minutes?
Thank you for being there.
Do you wanna make a,
Driving me nuts.
which one is this?
This is from March 17th.
March 17th? Yeah, we just,
Yeah, but they're still recording, we have other matters,
Oh, you do?
yeah.
meeting minutes, clerical stuff that we want.
you wanna
Anyway,
make a-
echoing your comments, what I saw in the last hearing, yeah, I agree with it. It's insanity.
Is this them?
That's it, yep.
All right, just make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Monday, March 17th, 2024. Get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sue, that's it, right? All right. We're all set. Meeting adjourned.